The Zodiac Killer, Why He Was Never Caught. In the late 1960s, a man terrorized Northern California, killed at least 5 people, taunted police with cryptic letters, and then vanished. No arrest, no trial, no name. Over 50 years later, his identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American crime history. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer. Welcome back to Vault of Crime. Today we're diving into a case that has haunted investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths for generations. A killer who didn't just commit murder, but turned it into a game. It all began on December 20th, 1968. 2 teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were parked on a quiet road outside Vallejo, California, enjoying what seemed like an ordinary evening. Without warning, a gunman opened fire, killing them both. There was no robbery, no apparent motive, and almost no evidence left behind. Investigators were baffled. The double murder appeared completely random, leaving police with little to work with. At the time, no one could have imagined that this brutal attack was only the beginning of one of America's most terrifying unsolved crime sprees. 6 months later, on July 4th, 1969, the killer struck again. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were sitting in a parked car at Blue Rock Springs when a man approached and suddenly opened fire. Darlene was killed at the scene, but Michael survived despite suffering multiple gunshot wounds. Although he described the attacker, the details were too vague to identify him. Then, just weeks later, local newspapers received shocking letters from someone claiming responsibility for both attacks. Inside were strange coded messages, with the writer insisting they would reveal his identity if anyone could solve them. In those letters, the killer introduced himself with a name the world would never forget: Zodiac. He wasn't simply confessing to murder, he was creating a terrifying public identity. He demanded that newspapers print his messages, threatening more violence if they refused. His strange symbols and coded ciphers fascinated investigators and amateur codebreakers alike. One of his most famous ciphers, mailed in 1969, remained unsolved for more than 50 years. When it was finally cracked in 2020, it revealed no real name, only more disturbing insights into the killer's twisted mind and obsession with fear. On September 27, 1969, Zodiac attacked again, this time in broad daylight at Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing by the lake when a masked man approached them. He wore a black executioner's hood marked with a strange crosshair symbol. After tying them up, he brutally stabbed both victims before calmly walking away. Cecilia later died from her injuries, but Brian survived. His detailed description of the attack gave investigators one of their clearest accounts of the mysterious killer, including the now infamous symbol that Zodiac also used to sign his letters. On October 11, 1969, Zodiac claimed his final confirmed victim. Taxi driver Paul Stein picked up a passenger in downtown San Francisco, unaware that it would be the last ride of his life. Moments later, the passenger shot him in the head and calmly walked away. Several witnesses saw the suspect leaving the scene and immediately called the police. Officers arrived within minutes, but a critical mistake changed everything. Due to a miscommunication, police were searching for the wrong suspect description, allowing Zodiac to disappear into the night once again, just steps away from capture. Over the years, investigators examined countless suspects, but one name stood out above all others: Arthur Lee Allen. Lead investigator Dave Toschi believed Allen matched many details of the case, making him the primary suspect for decades. However, when DNA evidence from the Zodiac letters was tested in the 2000s, the results failed to conclusively link him to the crimes. Other suspects, including Richard Gaikowski and Lawrence Kane, were also investigated. Despite decades of theories, books, documentaries, and independent research, no suspect has ever been definitively identified or proven guilty in court. Why was Zodiac never caught? Several factors worked in his favor. During the late 1960s, communication between different police departments was slow and often ineffective. Important evidence and investigative leads were not always shared across jurisdictions. At the same time, forensic science was far less advanced than it is today. DNA testing and modern crime scene analysis simply didn't exist. Zodiac also appeared to plan his attacks carefully, changing locations and methods to avoid creating a predictable pattern. His caution, combined with investigative limitations, allowed him to remain one step ahead of authorities for years. More than 50 years later, the Zodiac case remains officially unsolved, but investigators have not completely given up. Advances in DNA technology and forensic genealogy have brought new hope to the investigation. These same techniques helped identify the Golden State Killer decades after his crimes, proving that even the oldest cold cases can still be solved. Experts believe that if usable DNA evidence can be recovered and matched to modern databases, the Zodiac Killer could finally be identified, even if that discovery comes long after his death. More than half a century has passed, yet the Zodiac Killer remains a ghost, a name without a face, a mystery without an ending. Somewhere, the truth still exists, hidden behind decades of unanswered questions, lost evidence, and forgotten memories. Whether that truth will ever be uncovered remains unknown. Until then, the Zodiac Killer continues to stand as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American criminal history. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to Vault of Crime for more.